Hello, welcome to Game 3 of US vs UK 2014. Tonight, Conrad Bassett-Bouchard of the US is playing David Eldar of the UK. The best of 9 series is currently tied 1 game apiece. The game has just started, so let's join the action. Great start for David Eldar. He's got a bingo with Dentine, and Conrad has now got a pretty grim rack with 3 eyes. We had a slight hiccup at the beginning of this game. A previous game was started, but the racks weren't showing, so the game was immediately aborted. That's one of the settings within ISC which needs to be ticked or unticked, but we are underway now, and Conrad has this rack to deal with. So, what should he do? Well, Ticky is good. He's certainly looking for a play which plays off 2 eyes, unless he can score an awful lot. Okay, there is a play with 2 eyes, 22 points. Back with David, who comes, wow, straight back with another bingo. So this is a pretty brutal game for Conrad. I don't think he's got a bingo here. He's struggling with 3 A's, and he's got a 130-point deficit. And David has used up 38 seconds of time. Right, so, long way to go. What should Conrad do with this? We have the benefit of our railbirds giving their comments. And no suggestions coming through for Conrad. Well, I guess AIA is going to leave a pretty good rack lead. The duplicate T isn't too much of a problem. And that could play underneath the Y of isogeny. And, well, Conrad's still ruining the aborted game. He's saying he had AEI, MR, double T in that game. And I don't think Mattia is good. I think it's Matties, I think it's a noun. But anyway, certainly a better rack than the one he had in the second game with 3 eyes, and indeed this rack. Well, that's just one of the perils of online play. So, well, AIA also plays in row G above the last 3 tiles of Dentine. And in terms of rack leave, Kayart, KIAAT, through the K of Kibby Eyes would leave a good rack leave, but score not very much. Well, he's keeping 2 A's, so we'll see if that pays off. Now, David is going to be slowed down by this rank. He's got the Q. He hasn't got a U. He can play Chi in column 8, but that's only going to be 11 points. He may be tempted to score well with the Z and hope that he draws an I or a U for the Q next go. So I expect he'll be looking around for Z spots which score well. I note in column 4 that car takes an O in front to make O-car, and zit is good. But I'm not sure if there's a play which reaches the double letter square immediately above that. Double word square, rather. Neither Loz nor Roz is good. 0 is good, that could play in column 4. Column 8, coming down from the E of isogeny, is quite a hot spot, but I can't see a play which uses the Z in that spot. So David taking a little longer with this move than both of his previous ones. Res is a short word, and les that he has on his rack. Les unlikely because that would leave the duplicate R, but neither the L nor the R goes particularly well with the Q. But I don't think this rack is bad enough to change. I suspect the choices are between Chi and 0. 33 points for 0, 11 for Chi. So a difference of 22 points, you'd reckon the Q as being worth about minus 13. Yep. Okay, so Conrad's rack is improving, but has it improved enough? Is there a bingo here? Well, I can't see one. He does have a scoring tile in the H. He should be able to leave himself with a decent rack leave. I note that Okar in row E does take an H in front. I can't see a... Well, I suppose Taha could play in that spot, but that would leave iOS, which isn't a great leave. Ohio is a good play. That does play in column 3, but doesn't reach the the double word square. So he'll be looking to score well and try and leave a good rack leave. Ohio also plays in row K underneath the Y of isogeny. Only 19 points. The Z is also available, but I can't see a good way of using that. Okay, so he's played Taha keeping IOS, which is a vulnerable rack leave. It could work out, or it could be problematic if he draws I's and O's. Now, David has drawn an I, which is good. It gives him a bit more flexibility with the Q, and in particular it means he can play Chi and Chi in row G for about 28 points. And he's keeping the J and a vowel for score next go. I'm looking around to see if there's anywhere else that the Q can play. Well, he could play Chin in column 9, but that doesn't score enough compared to Chi. David's H does play to the left of the A of Taha, but I think his priority... well, he can play his J there. Now, does he have a J, any J play at all on his rack? Gosh, I don't think he does. If he did, that would be a 50-point play. But I don't think he's got any word at all beginning with J on his rack. Well, that may stay available for next go. Conrad may be reluctant to use it because it will open up column 1, which is a triple word square lane. Right, Conrad's luck has changed. He has drawn the first blank. He will have a number of bingos to choose from. Dentine takes an S, so column 11 is available for a bingo ending in S, such as Oreides. Osiad is the anagram of that. Can't see anywhere for that to play. So I think column 11 looks like the best bingo lane. Well, there's also row D for a bingo beginning above AT. Well, no suggestions from our railbirds yet. So, what plays in row D? I'm just mentally running through the alphabet in my mind. Well, Osiad does Osiad and Oat, so those are the options. Osiad and Oat, or Oreides and Dentines. I guess column 10 is also a bingo lane, putting an S or an N after chi, but that's going to open up row A, and the score won't justify playing in that spot. Yep, diocese, nice play. Conrad is now 72 points behind. And, well, does David have a J play in column 2? He's got the J for making JA. But no, I don't think he does, that he has no play at all. Well, he's keeping the J, scored 38 points for the X, and that's a terrific pick for Conrad. But does anything play? Is there a 7? Well, I'm not sure there is a 7 with this rack. It's a nice looking rack. Plenty of 8s. Through an E there would be Prentice. There, Entropic through an O. Column 12 is also a bingo lane, starting to the right of the E, and I think that means Diocese was a particularly good play, because instead of going for a bingo which just ended with an S making dentines, by playing Diocese, Conrad was opening up the bottom right of the board, in particular providing a bingo lane in column 12, which he would want to do since he is behind. So, tricky rack. He could play Perv at A8, 27 points. But I don't see a bingo with this rack. Row F is not a bingo lane because that would have to start above the Q. Conrad's got the problem here that this is a really bingo-y rack, but any play he makes is going to play off a number of tiles. He could play pick in column 2, pick and par. 22 points. Just not scoring enough. Well, Volucris has observed that Oreides and Dentine would have allowed Spectrin to be played. Nice observation. Well, Conrad's gone for score, 32 points. He's drawing 6 random tiles. Back with David, he has drawn the blank. He does now have a J play, but that spot has been taken by Conrad. Jatropha is good through an O or a P. But neither of those letters is available. 50 points. Good score for David. Back with Conrad. He doesn't have a bingo. He's got 3 scoring tiles. So he'll be looking to score and leave a decent rack leave. And maybe open the board up. I don't think M pawn is good. In fact, I know it's not. N rap is good, but he doesn't have the R. I'm looking in column 8 for 6-letter plays beginning with the E of isogeny. Pedant, 42. Wow, didn't see that, and that's a big score. Fast playing from David, 81 points for Lustral. That's his 3rd bingo of the game. And Conrad has, he's still got the W from last go, and the M from last go. Both of those have gone, 42 points. So he's now 125 points behind, and David has finally drawn a really bad rack. Well, I guess he played his way through the J and the Q, which were not dream racks to start with. Quizzical comments, has referred to the fact that David did win the very first World Youth Scrabble Championship at some young age. He's also won a number of other tournaments. Now, Vug is playable in row A. Vug, and Gape. That's going to sort the ruck out quite nicely and score well. And that's going to take David to over 400 points. So this is looking like a one game. Well, except Conrad does now have a bingo. He has Cintery, that plays in column 12, Cintery and S. Any anagrams of that, or better bingos through floaters? Well, I can't see any other alternate bingos. None of our railbirds are suggesting anything. Wow, 40 points for Vug. That's a great score from an ostensibly poor rack. Yep, great. There goes Sentry for 80 points. So he is, well, just about within a bingo of David, but David's on turn and he's got Comfy in row O for another big score. Okay, or M base for 45. Same number of points. Not a great rack for Conrad. And time is running out. Only 4 points left. 4 tiles left, rather. This has been a really fast game. David has used 6 minutes of time and Conrad 11. Not sure about Euro. Odeful. Odeful is the good word here. But does it play? Don't think it does. Not too many bingo lanes to consider. Column 14 is the main lane and it doesn't play there. Yep, we know you do. Now. What to do? Well, whatever he does is going to guarantee the win. There's only one tile in the bag. We can see the remaining tiles at the bottom of the screen. Even if Conrad bingos, which he is not going to do, he's not going to win. $38 points. Yeah, another good score for David. Takes him over the 500 mark. And we can see the tiles at the bottom that David has got on his rack. He'll be looking to see if he can go out in one. Well, I haven't seen where he can do that. And Conrad will be looking to see if David can go out in one, and if he can't see an out, will be planning a 2-move out for himself. He's got Yogi in row O, 21 points, leaving Dua. I'm looking in column 1 to see if either player can play there, but nobody's got a tile to go in front of PA. So is there a better play through the Y? Oh, that's an interesting observation. The Odeful play, which didn't go, would have made 4-fold through an F. That would have been a pretty fabulous play. Conrad's got 7 minutes left on his clock. Not a happy evening for him, but Scrabble can be brutal. Giro is good, simply as a 5-letter word that he has on his rack. So, were he to play Yogi, is there anywhere for Dua or Juro? Okay, well, I couldn't see anywhere, but I imagine that he does have an out with Udo. Foul for 20. And Udo plays in column 11. He's also got a duo on his rack. Great, 25 points for Conrad. That's the end of the game. Final score, 408 to Conrad, 524 to David, a winning margin of 116 points. So well done to David. And that gives and commiserations to Conrad, and that gives the UK a 2-1 lead in this best of 9 series. We have a slight break before the next game in 5 days' time, Sunday the 19th of October at 8 o'clock, John O'Loughlin versus me. And let's have a look what the players missed. Let me just reply to this. Oh, okay, I will reply later. So, Dacron history. Examine. Go to the beginning. Right, so this was David's opening rack. He played Denti, and that's all there was. And this was Conrad's. Well, he had Bikini, which would have been quite nice, 22 points. Instead, he played Kibi, keeping AIT, so for the same score, so Bikini would have been better, I think. I'm reluctant to say definitely, given the calibre of these players. Now, great draw for David after playing his bingo. He has another one with Isogeny, playable at J4, which is where he played it, and 11G. A lot of vowels for Conrad. Tartar for 19, a good vowel dump. Wow, AT, let's go back. AT from that, keeping AA, IST. Yeah, not convinced that that is best. But that would probably benefit from some sort of analysis, or quackle analysis. Now, David did have some early rack problems, this being one of them. He played 0, and he could have played Zol, but 0 is better because it splits up the duplicate R. Back with Conrad, he played Taha for 31. He could have played R for 29. Yeah, in the same spot. And I think R is slightly better, although it's a 2-point sacrifice. I think the T really benefits the rack. It stops it being vowel heavy, and it has a lot of synergy with the S. So I think R would have this slight edge in that situation. Now, J and a Q. This was the point at which what was played? Yeah, Chi was played. And that's got to be better than getting just 5 more points by playing Geely and keeping the Q on the rack, especially with the really hot spot, the triple letter square to the left of the second A of Taha remaining available. So I think G is the play in this for this move. Now, this is where Conrad played Diocese, and I like that. It scores the most points, but it also provides that additional bingo lane in column 12, which is good since he's behind. Back to David. Vexil for 38, that was his play. And this was a painful rack for Conrad. It looks bingo-y, but just no floaters available, and there didn't appear to be any bingos. There wasn't. He played Prince for 32, and then when you play off 6 tiles, you're in the hands of the Scrabble gods in terms of what you pick up. So it's a shame to break up a bingo-y rack for just 32 points, but there's nothing obviously better for him to do. Okay, David now was in a nice position. He's well ahead. He's got the blank, and he's got a scoring tile in the J. And he was able to play Raja for 50, which looks best. Conrad's rack. He played Pedant for 42, which was a great spot. Only downside of that is the retention of the 2 high-scoring tiles, but I think the score makes that the best play. David bingos with Lustral, which is well spotted, and also the highest scoring bingo. Back with Conrad. Quite a nice rack. He's drawn an S. In fact, all 5 tiles he drew to go with his M and W were good bingo-y tiles. But he doesn't have a bingo, but he is able to score 42 points for more. Unfortunately for Conrad, and fortunately for David, this enables David to sort out his rack with Vug for 40. He could have played Vac for 4 more points, but that's retaining the U and the G. So I think the rack lever face is definitely 4 points better than Fegu. Conrad did have a bingo now, Cintery, which he played. And this was the embase rack, quite an unusual word. And scoring the same as Comfy. Not a nice rack for Conrad, no way back here, with only 4 tiles left. He could only bingo once and that wouldn't be enough. 0 for 36. Yep, that was Conrad's play. And David now had Odeful, but nowhere to play it. Wow, Furl for 46. That would have been interesting. What he played was 4 for 38, keeping Loud. But I think Furl has got to be... let's see. There's 1 tile in the bag. So Furl scores 8 more points. I think he's more likely to have an out keeping DOO than keeping Loud. So I think Furl would have been better. Now this was Conrad's final rack and he played Yogic. Sorry, he played Orgic for 12, setting up or leaving himself with Udo in column 1. No out for David, but 20 points for Foul and Furol N10. Where's that? Okay, that's row N through the R of Sintry. That would have been a better play. 12 more points with the same rack leave. And finally, Udo was the best out for Conrad. So a rip-roaring game. Fantastic start for David. 2 back-to-back bingos. Drama before the start with an aborted game. It's important to get your settings right so that the racks don't show, and there was nothing that could be done apart from aborting that game because the racks simply weren't visible, and they did need to be. So I hope you enjoyed watching that and got something out of it. The UK does now have a 2-1 lead, and we're back on Sunday for John O'Loughlin versus me. So I hope to see you then and have a good game.